Oh, ba-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-dum. I cannot get enough of that. Joel Felsenstein, you are the man. I say it every single time. I will continue to say it, my brother. From across the pond in the UK, Rockstar X, Joel Felsenstein is taking you from awareness to action in teaching you and teaching leaders that people that are from the neurodiverse community and autistic community are different. They are not less. So well done, my brother. I appreciate you. Thank you for this beautiful intro outro video that you supplied. And I'm so excited that you're going to be part of our September 27th Feed for Good. You and your band, the Renegade Playboys. If you haven't heard him play, now, most of you may know that he plays the drums, but he is so stinking talented. Wait till you hear his band play. It's incredible. So we got 3 of their songs that we're going to be playing during our 4-hour live event, September 27th. Mark your calendar. So our next sponsor is Circle of Friends Club. Jason Wilson and his crew are doing such amazing things. The Freedom Fight Expo runs every single month, and they talk about important issues that you need to be aware of. This last month, they talked about oncology mindfulness. Rochelle Prosser and many other people came on board to discuss what their struggles have been and their realities and what they're doing to make a difference in the world. So Rockstar X, thank you. Circle of Friends, thank you. And now I want to tell you about our 2 other sponsors that we have for this evening. The gifted bipolar writer, Nick and Jai Galindo. Thank you so much for allowing me to write in your anthology that you're coming. It's a trilogy, folks, a trilogy. This lady is not messing around. My Trini sister right here in New York, thank you so much. I cannot wait to meet you in person. Thank you for what you and Island Elevator are doing for us on our event, Feed for Good event at the end of September. So proud to be part of what you're doing and that trilogy anthology. That's a mouthful. Last but not least, Hounds of Business Community, thank you for everything you do, Mike Asherbrainer and the crew there. What a great community to be part of, to get support. It is profitable reciprocity, my friends, and they have been a big help in shouting out what we do at HR for You. So without any further ado, tonight I have 2 fantastic ladies that are going to talk to you about changing the narrative in the education system. So Christine Lynn Jones and Kristen Lynn Norai, thank you so much for being here this evening with us. Give it up in the house, people. That's right.
Hello.
That's how we do it here. That's how we do it here. So, Kristen, we'll start with you. And just tell us a little bit about your background and then kind of why you are the Swiss Army knife.
Oh, yes. Okay. So, as Jason said, my name is Kristen Norai. I am a veteran educator of over 25 years plus at this point. I can't believe that it's been that long, but I started my career years ago in special education and then transitioned later into general education as well. I've worked in a variety of different settings, and I got the nickname Swiss Army Knife when I was the district compliance officer for special education in Rock Hill School District in South Carolina. One of my colleagues actually told another colleague of mine that they needed to get in touch with me to ask me some questions about a program. And the other colleague said, I don't know who she is. And he said, oh, you need to know her. She's the Swiss Army knife of special education. And so once he said that, and I heard that, I thought, I'm tagging it. I'm keeping that one myself. So
how can you not take that?
I
As a
know,
kid,
right? And
as a
that's a
kid,
great
as a
one.
kid, like that was my favorite like thing. I mean, you have a little, I was a kid that wanted to be outside, so having a Swiss Army knife was like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing ever. That and a BB gun, but the BB gun got me in trouble, so that's a whole nother thing. Christine,
So
tell us
yeah,
a little bit
my Swiss
about
Army knife.
yourself. Oh, I
Yeah.
love that. Christine, tell us about yourself and tell us why you're the innovative incubator. I had to practice that because that's like a
Yeah,
mouthful.
it is kind of, isn't it? So my name is Christine Lynn Jones, and I've been teaching now for 32 years. And I have my master's in special education and my general ed in education, and then a kindergarten endorsement. Currently, I'm teaching kindergarten. I also do coaching in the schools, in actually in my school itself. And then my name, it goes along with coming up with innovative ideas in education, things that coming up with solutions that people have not thought about. So, actually, Chris and I are going to be coming up with a book that will help with social emotional, and it'll actually be how to rewire your brain for those people that are neurodivergent that need help. So, like, I'll just do just a little bit of a plug there. But so social stories are loading it up, like preloading up. But this is actually taking a look at what happened and where to break the cycle and how to do it differently so it becomes a proactive approach. And then it will also have ways to collect data. So it will be very encompassing. It will help many people reframe their way of thinking. So we're excited about that.
Oh, good grief. You guys are like,
Yeah.
you guys are crushing it. I mean, every time I talk to you two, it's like, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. That's fantastic. So I mean, I want to give the space. What we're talking about this evening is, and I could jump on a soapbox in no time flat about things with the education, because of so many of the people I know and respect that have left education and the stories they tell about the educational system. I want to obviously give a huge shout out and kudos to the two of you. My youngest brother, autistic, and was in special ed his entire life while he was alive. So having teachers that really take on the kids that others don't necessarily understand or want to be part of in any shape, form, or fashion, to me is like huge. So I just want to take a minute to just say how much I appreciate both of you and your passion for teaching and how you shine a light on that. So thank you very much. But I want to I put it for both of you. What in your mind, was lacking that made you say, we've got to we could do a better job, and we think that we have the answer. So, Kristen, we could start with you, but I would love to know from both of you, like what was the thing that you experienced that really made it like, okay, I see some gaps, and I think we can fix this.
I think I come from a really unique perspective because I did leave public education 2 years ago, and I made the decision to leave because my position was eliminated due to funding, and that was a big piece of my what am I going to do next? And I kept thinking, well, I could jump into a different position and try to help in this one building in this one district, or I can go global and try and have an impact from the outside in to help fix all of the things that I see that are broken along the way. And with that said, I know Christine has a lot similar, but more to add to that.
So Chris and I have done extensive talking on this. And actually, when we first met, we were for our coffee chat. And so I'll let you interject because that's kind of what we do. So I'll go ahead and start it off and then feel free to, chime in. So when we first met, we hit it off right away because our post, we noticed that we were writing the same type of post. And we said, let's write a book together. And we said, okay, what are the pain points in education? And what can we do to fix it? So we looked at bridging the gap between home and school. The very first thing Kristen and I said, is there a Venn diagram between home and school? That's the very first thing that we had looked at. We looked it up and we scoured. We did not find anything. We're like, there it is. There's the missing link. So we created a Venn diagram and then built a book around it. And we thought it was a pretty simplistic book, didn't we, Kristen?
Really, we did.
Until what happened, Kristen, and then we were like, uh-oh.
We had a friend of Christine take a look at it, and she owns a preschool, and she said, you guys didn't write a book, you wrote a program. This is the book that goes with the program you need to write now. And it was just kind of like, aha, okay. So we have kind of done it in backwards order. We wrote the workbook and put that out this time last year. It was published in October of last year. And then we decided, oh, let's write a program that goes with it.
Very cool.
So
Very cool.
we've been working on that. We've been giving away a lot of free learning opportunities through our, we offered classes not too long ago in the summer. And now we've been doing LinkedIn lives, audio rooms, I mean. So we've been doing that. Sorry, pardon me. I have a kindergarten brain after a long day of teaching. It is mush. Kristen will tell you. In the morning, I'm sharp as a tack. By this time in the evening, no, all bets are off.
You're doing fine. You're doing just fine.
So, so we're excited for our next step, and our classes start in September, beginning of September 3rd.
All right. And so just for the audience, and so I understand, the classes are going to be geared towards whom?
It's for parents.
Okay.
And the idea is that we're helping parents learn their shared responsibilities with teachers and have more ownership over what's happening at school versus having it being an us versus them, but actually bridging that gap and bringing, that party back together to all be working together.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So sorry.
Go ahead. No.
I was going to say that's the first piece of the puzzle. We're working on the family side. So we fleshed out all of our offers for that. And then the next part will be working with the families and with the teachers to work with the families. And so we're going to be meshing the two together to make it seamless. So then that way we can truly build the gap between home and school, because we know when parents are involved, test scores go up and schools thrive. Without parent support, we have nothing. So we cannot do it through laws. We cannot do it through that, but we can do it if, as a whole collective group, if we all pull together, we can make great things happen within our public schools and make them stronger again, because it's going to take a big community to do it, to support our schools, because public schools are the only schools that support all of our children. The only one.
Very cool. I'm curious, what do you think has been the pain point or gap for why there's been such a division between us versus them, like parents versus teachers? Your teachers saying you're not doing enough, you need to do more, or whatever, and parents going, why aren't you helping my kids? What has been the pain point gaps that you've seen that have created the division?
Okay, so what I've noticed is that when I went to school, there was a triangle. The triangle was nice and neat. We had the parent, we had the child, and we had the teacher. So what has happened through legislation, through the high stakes testing, we've taken away the child's responsibility. No, we don't have to worry about that because it belongs to somebody else. Oh, the parents? Nah, we don't have to worry about that either. The teacher. The teacher is the one that is left holding everything. We are the cause of a lot of different things in our society. When that happens, we are now the scapegoat. And we can be on a chopping block. It's easier to destroy our systems when we have one scapegoat. And that's essentially is what has happened. And you can see it very clearly over my 30 years of teaching.
So how does this go ahead? how does this fit? There's a delay, I think. But go ahead and say what you're going to say, Kristen.
I was just going to say, I think that pain point, there's been a much of a divide too of it. It's not my job. Parents saying it's not my job to do the teaching, and the teachers saying it's not my job to do the parenting. And so that animosity that comes in, and therefore there's already a combative relationship before there's even a chance to form a positive one. And that's what I think we want to really help get rid of, that combative relationship.
And making sure that we're joining forces again, where all three are present, that triangle's present, so we can make it nice and strong. Right now it's very weak. So we need to build that bridge back together again.
And how are you doing that? And we can start with Christine, and Kristen, you could jump in, but how does your program, and how does what your book and what you've created, how does this work to help them, to get them to communicate again?
So right now we're focusing on the parent part and having a strong family nucleus, so that way children can be successful. So we're taking a look at strong family connections and having the parents take a look and being self-reflective in how they are parenting and being honest in their reflections so they can get help. Teaching children how to self-advocate, so that would be part of that prong too. Making sure that they are getting enough rest. So we have 2 different programs for that. I'm just going to kind of just paraphrase the nightly routines. And then we're talking about crafting their path to success. And we have specific pages in the book that are tied to it, as well as supplemental materials. And some of those supplemental materials are where they're actually engaging at the home, and they're going to be taking pictures of their area or describing it depending on their comfort level. Journaling activities, because we know journaling is very important for self-reflection pieces. I'm going to stop there and let Kristen finish or add to it.
Sure. Some of the other things that we're including in that teaching process is how to include social emotional learning in the home, and also blending those academics into daily routines without using technology and workbooks, finding authentic ways to be having the parents support the academic needs that kids have. There's so many kids these days that come into school as non-readers because parents just don't know what they don't know in terms of supporting and helping and continuing to read with kids. And I think we've entered such a unique time period with, the use of screen time and tablets kind of taking over, that this kind of the idea of the classes to hopefully help parents re-engage with their children versus just sticking them in front of a tablet or a television for the night.
Wow. Well, yeah.
Yes.
that would be ideal, right? Actually have conversations. So
right.
let's teach our kids how to have courageous conversations, and how to talk about their feelings, and how to work through things that are uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
How much further along would they possibly be if those are the skills they learn versus how fast their thumbs can move,
Right.
Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit more about the program and what you hope to see in each phase. So the first phase is about the family unit, and talking about how the family and how they can work with the children to make sure that they're getting what they need, but also let's not have it be all about the electronic piece. I get that. That's fantastic. The next phase, you said you were talking about going on the teacher side, right?
Yes, but there's also another component to this, that we're going to be having some other classes that are kind of branched off of that parent self-care, because we know when parents take care of themselves, that the family dynamics, it works better, it flows better, as well as in our book, we have sections on how to chart behaviors. So we give them, you can try just like a simple like charts, And then after that, then they can try the ABC, which is like recording what happened before the event, and then what happened after it. And then Krista and I can take a look at it, and we can provide helpful information to them. So this book is actually like, it can be taken from, if they have a preschool, it can be taken all the way up through their schooling, and a place to house all the important information like doctors information and parent teacher conferences and that kind of thing. So that is how on their side that we're bridging it. Plus it also has that Venn diagram that clearly states what their responsibilities are.
Very
So
cool.
add anything more to some of our different components, Kristen, that we're going to be offering as standalone ones?
I was going to say there is also a standalone breaking cycles, breaking free of broken cycles. I'm going to get the name wrong. I know that we've got so many trendy names we've come up with, and I can't keep them all straight. But where we would work one-on-one with parents, and if they're having severe problems in the home with behavior, coming up with an individualized behavior plan, helping them figure out how to come up with goals that are realistic and obtainable for the child, and supporting them in getting the child back on track, hopefully in a positive manner.
So when someone decides that this, they're going to pick up the book, and maybe they picked up the book and now they're saying, I really would like to go through the program with you. How does that work? Do they sign up for an entirety? Is there an a la carte? I mean, is it a kind of a mixture of the two?
I would say it is a mixture of the two. We've got our 6-week class, and then we've got these a la carte 2 to 3 week classes that we're offering also. And actually one of them is just a one class, one session class. So we do have a variety, and then I'm sure we'll continue to pivot and add more to the bank as we develop more ideas.
Because we already are thinking of other ideas. So I think it'll just become more, more expansive. So, which is exciting.
Now, I'm assuming that most of this is online. Are you thinking of being able to do this in person? Maybe even if schools decide that they're going to roll this out? I mean, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
If a school system would want to
Absolutely.
take this on, we would be willing to go to the school system and roll it out and work with them. The other thing that we're also interested in, because our name is very unique, we're also looking to have public speaking engagements as well, and to inspire others in the educational sector and to get them hyped up about connecting with the families and why it's so important and how to have our schools thrive and succeed. So that's another thing that Kristen and I were looking at as well.
Oh, that's very cool. I hope a million people see this. We can get it out, and you two both get as many speaking gigs as possible, because I love what you're doing. As Jackie just said it, and I again, for those of you in the audience, before we went live, Christine she's got Amber Williams, and she's got Jackie Halberg in the house, and I mean physically there with her. So I'm waving. How cool is this? It's great to have them in the audience, and I know you got to be thrilled to have them there with you.
Yes.
So that's just awesome. It's great to see people come together. I always enjoy seeing those stories on social media where people are meeting in person, they're getting together, there's human interaction. I think it's so good for us. So anyway,
it is. Yep, it's a blessing.
we know that.
I love it.
So I want to give you time as well to talk about. You've talked about the program, you've talked about the book, and kudos to all the incredible. I mean, this has got to been hours and hours of work that you've done. But it's, as Jackie just said, and other people in the audience are saying, this work is going to change a lot of lives. What is the what's the hope for the legacy of this? I think is my question next. Is what do you hope to leave as far as a legacy? And we'll start with Kristen.
I would like to see repair made to our public educational system nationwide. I think, we when we looked at what could we do, one of the things Christine and I talked a lot about were, there's all kinds of things we can do in terms of policies and laws and getting out there and doing the legal side of things. But getting the biggest bang for our buck and having the biggest impact came from doing research and discovering that parent engagement was the area that was truly needed. And parents are asking for it too. The research says that parents want to be involved and they want to know more. So our hope is that by helping parents will help the teachers, and the teachers will want to stay, and the schools will just get better as a result.
Awesome. Christine.
Yeah. So, as you know, Kristen and I think a lot alike, and I get very emotional. So, when I start talking about this, but our public schools are failing. I believe very strongly that public schools need to be saved, and we have every citizen in the United States or any other country. We have more power than what we think. When we band together and we are stronger as a unit and shed light. Where there needs to be light, we can do great things. And it's going to take a grassroots effort to take back our public schools. It doesn't have to be like where we're going and fighting against like the government or whatever. It can be working together with our schools, with our teachers, and coming up with solutions on how to make this better for everybody involved. Because without our public schools, I don't know what our country is going to look like. Um, and so our public schools are definitely worth saving because they are the only entity that has to teach every child, the only entity. And what happens if those are destroyed?
Oof.
Foundation of
I
our
was
country.
just on a show the other night. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I'm done.
I was just watching a show the other day, and Tabitha Barron was talking about 50 million kids return to school in these next couple weeks. It's a lot
Wow.
of kids.
It's a lot
When
of
we
kids.
think about it, there's a lot of kids out there that aren't in that 50 million that we need to get back in schools. There's more and more homeschooling going on, and more parents that are pulling their kids from public school because of the dire needs that are going on right now. Yeah, I was just today presenting. I'm in Connecticut right now, and I was presenting to a school who they are understaffed. There were only 14 teachers present because the principal's still hiring for the school year, and it starts a week from today. So
Wow.
that's happening everywhere. It's unbelievable. And the number of teachers that are needed, we're not getting those kids graduating from college coming out saying, I want to be a teacher anymore. Like they used to be, at least. A lot of schools are even closing their Department of Education programs or College of Education programs because they just don't have enough enrollment.
A lot has changed within 30 years because when I entered the field, it was a occupation that was respected, admired, revered, and one that I felt very proud of to say that I belonged to and I was helping out future generations. As the time has progressed, the things have been chopped at it a little, and it keeps on getting more and more eroded away. But just because it's eroding away doesn't mean that it's lost. It just means that we need to rebuild. And when we rebuild things that are broken, we rebuild back stronger and more successful than ever. And that, I think, is the message that I would like to say. And I know from my own personal experience, those nicks, how deep you get cut, you rebuild back a lot stronger than your cuts.
I love that. I agree
Awesome.
with you. Yeah, I agree with you. We talked about this before the show and kind of a little bit in the beginning of the show, but it's sad for me to see, especially since the pandemic, how many teachers have left the system. They're fried. They're burnt out. And I love the fact that you guys really dove into the research and said, you know what? We're not going to go through and do more rhetoric. How can we make the biggest impact? Because a lot, even in what I do as a nonprofit person, a lot of people will look at what they think is the easy fix. And sometimes it really takes that intentionality to do something even more courageous that's going to take longer. It's going to be that slow but steady climb. And as you said, rebuilding stronger.
Yes.
So, I mean, kudos to you both for choosing a path less trodden and for really making that choice to have a deeper connection and a larger impact. So that speaks to my heart right there. It speaks to my heart because that's what I'm all about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's important. I think it's important to get out the message that our schools are worth saving, and we can't just sit back. We don't have time to sit back, and that's what Kristen and I realize. We don't have the time. We don't have the time to go and talk to the legislation that's not going to change it anyway. But we have time to build a program, and we have time to implement it. And our goal is to be able to be successful enough that we can go ahead and hire people to do this, because it's already all fleshed out. We have everything ready for somebody actually to go and take that program and to teach it tomorrow. It's already done. And we have notes, and it's already ready. So that's what we would like to see, and for it to spread like wildfire across our country. So, yeah.
Yes.
That's fantastic. Look, we need to do this. That's fantastic. That's just incredible. I want to, as we start to wind down some of the show, I really want to give you guys an opportunity to make sure that we say everything and we leave it all on the table. I don't want you to come off the show and say, I should have said that. So I want you both, and we'll start with Kristen. What more do you want the people to know about either the book, the program, what you're doing, or how that people can get in touch with you?
I think one thing we haven't mentioned that's important is that, of course, money is always a factor. We want to be able to reach families that maybe don't have the money to take these classes. So something Christine and I have talked about is getting into grant writing so that we can fund ourselves and be able to scholarship families into these programs, and getting, other people to be willing to scholarship families that may need the support, because we know that it's needed everywhere at every level, no matter what their socioeconomic level may be. People are needing support, and they're asking for it. One of the things that I think in the last couple of years that I was in public schools, I heard so much from parents is I would do more if I knew what to do. And I think that's what our program is trying to flush out is, okay, here's what you can do. Here's how you can help. So that's one of the main things to think of.
That's fantastic, because I can imagine that there's, not to make fun of it, but there's this Ricky Bobby moment of what do I do with my hands? Like, I want to help,
right?
But what do I do? Like,
right.
I'm having trouble just relating to my kid, and making this happen and getting them off their phone long enough to have a conversation with me. Right. So I think you're addressing a lot of cool things, and I don't want to forget to let you in on this, Christine. I want you to say your piece, but I really love that part. So thank you for saying that.
And I'll just say ditto.
Wow, ditto. All right.
I like that.
I would say ditto, because it was wonderful. I love the way that you said that, Kristen, and you're spot on all of that. So I was listening to you, and I was like, that is exactly what we are doing. We're all trying to help the families and help those that need help, because everybody needs a helping hand. And our mission is very heart centered, and we want to make sure that that is conveyed as well. It's done with love, it's done with compassion. It's something that we both believe in very, very strongly. The other thing is that cannot be ignored either, is that when we have a strong family nucleus, that is a ripple effect that each one of those families carry into the communities. So the stronger we are at the family center, we have so much more positive impact. And that can be carried forward to help more people. And, I just think what a better world that would be. Sometimes I know I have rose colored glasses. Um,
No, come
so
on.
no, I think these are clear today. So I think we're good
Those are
to
clear.
go. We're good to go today. So, but I just, those are some things that we really need to think about. Um, and then also I was thinking about, with parents and trying to get the children out of the home. I'm going to say that as nicely as I can, but we know that we have children that are boomerang children and that are coming back into the nest, and then they're not leaving fully. And then that's a drain financially on the parents, because they have to pick up they're picking up the slack. They don't have to, but they tend to pick up the slack because they don't want to see their children suffer. So, with our program, it is taking a look at where do we want the children to be. What is our end goal? End goal is independence. Well, how do you get them there? So our program literally takes a look at the end goal, and we can break it down to where we know what they need to be accomplishing at each step to see if they are on target or not, to make sure that they're successful.
That's fantastic. It's well-rounded. You guys have thought of like everything, which I why would I think you would do anything other than that? You two are brilliant. You guys are brilliant. I feel my hockey brain just kind of like, what do they say? No, you guys are super duper intelligent, and it's incredible what you've put together. It's well needed, and it's like a breath of fresh air. So I am super excited that we have the opportunity to bring you on our People Community event, share with the community what you're doing, and get this out to as many people as possible. And we'll continue to talk about it in the future, so we keep getting the cycle back on multiple platforms, so that we can make sure that the message gets out about what you're doing and how to connect with you. So we'll share links and all of that as well in the posts. But so excited that you guys were here, and I love what you're doing. I love what you're doing. So.
Thank you, Jason. Well, we
Thank
adore
you.
what you're doing, so thank you. It's very exciting. Yes.
Us are in the like, holy moly, yeah, like we're all in the trilogy.
Yeah,
I don't
all
know.
are. Yeah.
Okay.
I think Nick was like, Jason, I'm gonna let you write this, but I know I don't know what you're gonna write, but she's been so kind. She's been so good. Yeah, I'm like, I don't really have a love affair with LinkedIn, but I'm gonna write this anyway because I wouldn't have met people like you two. I wouldn't have met Jackie and Amber. I haven't heard you on here, Amber, but I saw you. It's so great. It's so great to have you on this show. Thank you so much for taking part of your evening. Go enjoy your guests, Christine and Kristen. You said you're in, where are you? What town?
I'm up in Connecticut right now.
You're in Connecticut?
I'm in Stamford.
Jeez. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. All right. Yeah. Safe travels. Thank you so much, guys. You have been on the People Community event. Christine Lynn Jones, Kristen Lynn Norai. Thank you so much for being here. We'll catch you next time. Have a good one.